In this video, we're going to go over FedEx Day and how this is set up because our students love FedEx Day. So FedEx Day was created by Anna Myers, Kurt Householder, and myself. And this again is just a fun day where at the end of the day, the goal is for students to ship some type of product. It can be a physical product or a digital product, and we'll kind of talk about that, but that is the end goal. Their product is something that kind of breaks their heart or something that they want to change in the world or come up with a solution for. And it can be local, it can be in the United States, and it can also be a global issue that the students think about. And you're able to kind of change whatever you need part of FedEx Day to fit your own classroom needs. But again, the goal of FedEx Day is to break things, try stuff, and fail. So we just kind of go over with students like we want a growth mindset. It's okay if we don't beat some of the timer activities. It's okay if we struggle with different things, but we have to fail forward. And so that's kind of the mindset. And we're also talking about just shipping a product. Spotify uses this idea of shipping it and kind of getting it out there, making corrections as it's out there. And so we kind of use that model and that idea with our students. So the first activity is students listen to this book and we read this book out loud. So it's My Heart Will Not Sit Down. And students, in the book, it talks about the Great Depression and how food was very difficult and that kind of things. And so we talk about this big problem and how we cannot sit down with all of these different problems and how we can sometimes be the solution or have some ideas of how to fix some of these problems in the world. After the book, we start our design thinking process. These are design sprints. So right here, there's two different versions. This year we did it this way, and then last year we did it this way. So what you'll do is you start this interval timer, and it's 30 seconds for each of the different activities with a 10-second break. So it's like a brain break, and then the students have these 30 seconds to come up with all of their ideas. So they first come up with idea number 1, idea 2, idea 3, idea 4, idea 5, idea 6. And then they come up with their final idea that they would like to use, or they can also circle their winning idea. Right here, this is kind of the paper version. So we had this and we made it front to back, and then we stapled this last page on. And so what students did is, again, they had a design sprint and they had their 10 seconds breaks and then those 30 seconds, and they could draw, bullet point, write whatever they wanted because we did it on paper this year, all of their different ideas. So the timer would go and we would say, okay, focus on idea 1, add as much detail, add as much things as you can in those 30 seconds. Idea number 2, 3, 4. Once students get to about idea number 4, they start to struggle. They're running out of ideas. So that's when we say, use your worst idea ever. It doesn't have to be the best idea. And students just, again, they're going through those design sprints. Google uses these design sprints when they're creating products as well. A lot of companies do. Then the next activity is this KWHLAQ chart. And we kind of broke that down for the students in slides 7 and 8. So you can kind of see here, this is getting into the KWLH chart is this page. And what we did is we scaffolded it. So with every single activity, we said, okay, write your topic. The students could work with a partner. You can decide that. The students that did work with a partner, we gave them 2 minutes. So we set a lot of different timers in here, and we just went to YouTube and we had a timer so that they could actually see. So I just typed in 2-minute timer. I used this one. I can add it to the speaker notes. And then the students had 2 minutes to find a partner, share their ideas. If they had common ideas, they could work together. If they were not passionate about the same things, they might have needed to find a new partner. And then they wrote their final topic up here. And then we paused them after those 2 minutes and we came back together and we talked about what do you already know about this topic? They had another 2 minutes. And again, if you have longer periods of time, we only had an hour or so to do this. And so with that, our students had to kind of think really quickly. So that's why we were limited to 2 minutes, but you could do 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever time you have allotted for this day. And then they came back together and we did, what are some driving questions that you want to research about? We try to do 2 questions, so one for each partner, and then they would have some questions to kind of research about. After those 2 minutes, we came back together and they did this final part of the table and they actually researched. So students would go to the news station. So down here on their papers where they researched. They wrote their sources and then they wrote what they learned from this. So like homelessness, people found out how many people were actually homeless. They found out different information about that topic and they wrote it down. After that, we started to create our action plan. Okay, so this is what we used the year before, but then we used this one this year. And so students came up with their idea, who they need to collaborate with, and materials they might need. Then they developed their action plan. This is kind of that paper version where students could draw or write what they planned on creating. What was their product? So when we're talking product, it could be a Google Slides presentation. It could be an infographic in Canva. It could be a podcast, a video. It could be non-digital, and it could be a prototype. So a smaller version of what they actually wanted to create. One student did a wheelchair ramp, so they created a prototype using like straws and tape and that kind of stuff. So we bring all these different materials for the students, and they have to use what we have. Students also use like cardboard boxes to create their different prototypes. Some students create a poster, like a handmade poster. So we give students a lot of different options. It could also be an event. So the event might be where they plan out and they create the invites or something like that to show as their final product for what they want to create for helping whatever problem they came up with. They also, during this time, we set a 10-minute timer on this activity. So again, I just go in here and I just search 10 minutes. And then I just grab this timer right here. And then I'll put it right here for you. But you, again, can decide how much time you want to just give them to kind of brainstorm this part. This is part of the 10 minutes because as they're drawing out, they're also writing out the materials they need, why they need it. They're just kind of thinking about what am I going to need to actually build this, because they are going to actually build this. So maybe it's a Chromebook, maybe it is Screencastify, maybe it is something else. Students are kind of going through and thinking about what materials they'll need. After that, we talk about how they're going to have different support. So these are the teachers and kind of who you can go to if you need help with research. Here is the person if you need a publisher to make sure your spelling and grammar looks correct. If you need tech support, you can see this person. Now they can go to anybody really, but these are like the experts is what we kind of tell students if they need some help. And as they're building, we talk about this before we let them go in the afternoon. So usually we have lunch and then we come back after lunch to finish up the project. But before lunch, we just talk about Spotify. And this is kind of their motto is fail fast, learn fast, improve fast. And then they aim to make mistakes faster than anyone else. So we talk about just ship it. Okay, you're going to have about an hour is what we give students to create. Again, if you have 2 hours, you can do 2 hours. Students definitely, we had some students that did not finish in that hour, but they had to ship their product. Some students do. And again, if you give them more time, it's just going to kind of go in more depth of what their product looks like. So again, we talk about failing fast, learning fast, and improving fast. And fail, recover versus failure avoidance. You can recover from your failures, you can improve your product. So then the afternoon comes and they design. So again, we give them about 1 hour to design, but you could do 2 hours, whatever you need. And you can also kind of see how your students do. So I'm going to put this in here just so you kind of know. So 1 hour to design. And then what happens is at the very end, students ship it. So right here is the Google form that we use. And students come in and they ship their final product. They put their email in, their name, a quick description, and then their package. So if it is a Google slide, they put the URL. If it is a physical, we have them take a picture and copy and paste that URL that they saved to Google Drive right here. So that way we can kind of see all the different projects that students created. And then you can do a gallery walk. You can have students present whatever you want to do. You could even do Flipgrid. So however you want them to ship it. Here's another way that students could deliver is they could just see 5 different students in their gallery walk and kind of like a poster session where they talk to each of the different people. And then at the very end, they do a reflection. What did I learn and what will I change if I did this next year? We talk about how we're not blaming people. It's no one's fault that something didn't finish in time or something like that. We're focusing on our product. So, again, kids love this activity of FedEx Day. They find it a lot of fun, and some of the creations that they come up with are amazing. So, yes, FedEx Day is a great way to end your year.